Hello everybody and welcome back to another anti-MLM video. I'm Christine, I'm glad you're here. Today we're going to talk about network marketing and deception. I'm going through one post specifically and let's talk about it. Why it is important to take a look at the facts behind the scenes and why to question people in an industry that is pretty much based on deception, on omitting certain information and in glorifying their success versus the reality. Today we're going to take a look at a slideshow. Please don't run away. It's not about the slideshow. It is about one post in that slideshow specifically. One of you pointed that out to me as well. Thank you for doing so. And now we're making a video about it. So let's take a look at somebody in the network marketing company Millionaire. It's also not about Millionaire specifically, but about the lies, the deceptions, and omitting information to present a whole picture for other people to be able to make an educated decision. We're going to get right into the slideshow. We're not going to go through everything. It is really just about one specific part of that slideshow and why it is so important to take a look behind the scenes and to not just trust somebody because they say, I'm so successful. So let's go. Today we're going to talk about Krista Parney, a senior executive director in the company Millionaire, and she likes to inflate her success in that company and in network marketing altogether. And let's take a look why. And let's take a look at the facts and the background information that she likes to omit. 5 things I would say to someone who hates network marketing. Yes, I used to call it a pyramid scheme too. That's not why you need to hate it. It's a sketchy, scammy business. Most people lose money only for very few people to even make a profit. And then also we're lying to the people. We're not even telling them how they can actually make money. And we're also withholding information. We're not encouraging them to do their own research. That's why network marketing is not a great opportunity, but we're not mentioning that, of course. Number 1, you're going to have to get over yourself. I did, and it made me over 10 million in this industry. Let's remember that she admits she made over $10 million in this industry in Millionaire. I thought I was too good for it. In reality, I just did not understand it. There's a difference. Yeah, you can still be too good for network marketing because most people in network marketing don't make money. They don't make a profit. They might have some revenue coming in. And I would argue that people who put in time and effort and who want to create a life and a lifestyle for themselves and their families, they deserve to be called too good for something that doesn't pay them in return. That is not my opinion. That is not my subjective view. That is factual. Also, when we take a look at Millionaire's own income disclosure statement, that is still the old one now out for 2024. Most people are at the lowest ranks, and if they purchase just a couple of products, these people will end up in debt. Number 2, most people who hate it cannot actually explain it. Well, I did. If someone asked you why, you would probably say it's a pyramid scheme. Yeah, it's fun because the pyramid scheme, or saying it's a pyramid scheme, although Millionaire hasn't legally been outed as such, is a stigma and is a way to say it's a bad business opportunity. It's sketchy, it's scammy, it's deception. Let's not do it. That was me too. And she still joined it. We judge what we do not understand. No, we also judge what we understand. We might be afraid, we might be fearful of things we don't understand, but most people who watch these videos have a good understanding at this point of network marketing, and we do understand it. And most people never take the time, took good amount of years to take my time to actually look into this, to actually understand this industry. Wrong. Number 3, this is not as different as you think. Most companies have quotas, most companies rely on sales, most companies are built on teams driving revenue. You just have never been paid like this before. In Millionaire, a company where most people don't even make a profit, across the industry, most people don't make a profit, then who gets paid like you've never been paid before? As badly? Because I guess that is truthful. So no, it's not that it's not as different as you think. It's a bad business model if you even want to get paid. 4, you're already buying the product anyway. So we're just recruiting customers. If you don't buy Millionaire products, you're not using it, you're not buying the products anyway. The shampoo, the skincare, everyday essentials, you're using it, it's running out, you're buying it again. No, I don't buy Millionaire products. So why not get paid on something people are already doing every single month? Consumable products create repeat income. Just because you use a shampoo doesn't mean that suddenly you will get paid if it's a product from a network marketing company. You will have to purchase a starter kit, a business kit. You have expenses. You have administrative expenses for the products you need to buy. You might need to throw parties, go to venues to attract customers, and you have expenses. The conference, the annual conference, now they have multiple conferences in Monat. Yes, that's how desperate they are. You have to purchase pricey tickets to get there. You have to get airfare. You have to either go by car, pay gas. Somebody needs to take care of your kids if you have children. You will have a lot of expenses to do this crap, to do this buffoonery. Number 5, I thought only the people at the top win. Yeah, that's right, because only the people at the top are able to make somewhat of a decent income and are able to financially win. I did not start first. I was not early. She was. She started years ago before the pandemic. She wasn't one of the very first people to start, but she started early at a convenient time. When the market wasn't yet saturated, Monat didn't have the chip on the shoulder it has now. Network marketing did not have a chip on the shoulder the way it has now. She started early enough for her to be able to make this a success. She was early. I passed 6 of my uplines and became the #1 income earner globally. And that's the specific point I want to speak about. This is not about when you start, it very much is. It's about how you show up, how long you stay, and who you become. It doesn't matter who you become. It's important that you have good timing. And I will be honest, I thought the people in this industry were weird. They were not. They just wanted more time, more money, more freedom. Yeah, and most people don't get any of that. The same things I wanted, says the woman who regularly posts. She posts now more than ever before while claiming that she has time freedom. And when she spends time with her family and her children, she posts. She has a camera with her all the time and she posts about these things regularly. Because Monat is not doing well, because network marketing is not well, she has to post a lot more than she did before. She's regularly on team calls, on opportunity calls. She doesn't have time freedom. Over 2 million in sales this month alone from a business I almost judged myself out of. Over 250 million sold. I did not hate network marketing. I did not understand it. That is a big difference. If you're open, no, I'm not open. What I wanted to speak about specifically and back up with facts, why I think it is important to shine a light on the things she doesn't mention, is number 5, that she passed 6 of her uplines and that she became the #1 income earner globally in Monat, in the network marketing company. She says she sold over $250 million in products, and she said herself that she made over 10 million over her time in Monat. So she is able to sell 250 million in products. That is not just herself, that is her and her entire team. In another post, she claims that she has 20,000 people on her team and she gets 10 million. Now, making over 10 million sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money, and she is one of the most successful people in Monat. She has one of the biggest teams, and that is why she is successful, because the recruitment of people and the efforts of the teams, they're better compensated than the actual sales. But just imagine that you are actually able, with your entire team, over your entire time, very likely in Monat, you are able to sell over $250 million in products, and you get out a little more than 10 million. If she were to run her own successful company, if she were to produce her own successful products, she would be able to cash in a lot more. Just imagine that. You're able to sell products worth 250,000 and you only get 10 million. 10 million is a lot of money, I'm saying it again, but if you consider how much product you allegedly sold, you should get more out of it. But that doesn't happen because she has a team of people and those people also participate in those sales. They also get their share out of the 250 million, and of course corporate does as well. But let's get back to this point, that she became the #1 income earner globally. Krista has made over 10 million according to herself and also according to Monat over her time in the company. She has achieved the 10 MDC, that is the $10 million club. Over her entire time in Monat, she was able to make $10 million in commission. That is not including taxes, that is not including expenses, but she has been inducted into the 10 MDC. And if we take a look at further information that was easily accessible via AI, she was ranked the #1 global income earner for Monat consecutively for 24 and 25. Would you be surprised if I told you there's also a 15 MDC? Because there is. So there are people in the company who are more successful than her. There are at least 2 people in the 15 MDC. That is Jacqueline Goldridge and now Ann Fisher. I am sure that Tony Van Schoik was also in the 15 MDC, but she got booted from Monat. That was the first market partner to ever start in Monat. She was directly under corporate. She didn't have an actual upline, and I believe she got kicked out because she was simply too pricey. She was simply too expensive for Monat because she doesn't bring in a lot of new people herself, but she has a lot of commission. She gets a lot of money from Monat, and she was one of the first people to be inducted into those MDC clubs. So I'm pretty sure she was also in that one. And when I took a quick AI look on this topic as well online, despite earning the #1 income earner position, Krista's cumulative personal lifetime commissions have not reached the specific 15 million threshold required for the 15 MDC. So Krista is successful in the company, but she is not the most successful person in that company. She is not in the 15 MDC, but 2 people for sure are. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that Tony Van Schoik would also be in that 15 MDC. That particular historic tier remains limited to pioneers like Jacqueline Goldridge and Ann Fisher. And I suspect Tony Van Schoik. So when Krista says that, let me quote her specifically again, that she became the #1 income earner globally, let's be real, that was limited to 24 and 25. And overall, she is not the most successful person in Monat. But of course, that sounds very good. And she is one of the most successful people in the company, but the way she presents herself here, she sounds a lot better than she financially actually is. There are people who are more successful than her. And what I also find interesting to point out is Monat's own data for 2026. Monat has launched territories left and right, trying to sell and trying to recruit more people. They try to do that in LATAM. We have new territories open also in Europe. They're opening up secret territories without letting anybody really know, and then just, oh, surprise, you can also sell and recruit now in Switzerland. And you think, why are you so desperate? Monat doesn't announce that anymore and doesn't give their people proper guidance in advance, saying, hey, by that time you can also recruit in Switzerland. They just pop that out now left and right. And the other tactic that is contrary to this one, surprise, we have a new territory. Monat gives them a lot of time, sometimes more than 6 months before they're able to launch in other territories. A very, very weird tactic, I do believe, because they do struggle. But if we take a look at Monat's own numbers, at their top 50 global income earners, we will take a look at the data from January. You can see Monat releases that regularly on a monthly basis now, who the top people in the company are, who the top 50 global income earners are. And the top person is Julie Stevens. Maybe Julie Stevens is also in the 15 MDC, I do not know. She was one of the first people also to join Monat. The second person in January as the top global income earners, so all of Monat's territories, all revenue streams, whether it's team building, whether it is sales of products, whether it is TikTok shop, that is also the sales of product. Monat pushes that heavily. Everybody who did well and who was at the top is mentioned in this list. The top 50 people. Number 2, Ann Fisher, also one of the OGs, one of the people who started at the very beginning. Number 3, Jacqueline Goldridge. And here we already have the first 2 people who are in the 15 MDC club. And then Krista Crawford, that is Krista Parney, Salvage Soul. She is at number 4. So in January 2026, she didn't take the top spot. Still a high rank. She regularly is up there, but there are in January 3 people who were more successful than she was. And then we also have people on Krista's team that is mentioned here. Christina Smallwood, a very important person for her as well. Christina Smallwood is, I believe, an executive director. She wasn't able to hold on to the highest rank as well. And then another person important for her, Ivy Carnegie, at 12. Those are the people that she heavily depends on to keep the highest rank, to keep her paycheck. And those other people's teams are crumbling, they're falling apart. That is for sure true for Ivy Carnegie. And let me take a look, another person that Ivy heavily depends upon, where we find that person. We don't find the person, it's Amanda, a person that is very important for Ivy. And if Ivy doesn't have a strong team of people, she doesn't have a strong team of people she can pass on in a way to Krista, and then Krista might also drop in rank. That everybody is stacked on top of each other, and those are kind of the main players I'm currently watching out for, so that other person is not even in the top 50 in January. I do not have the data for February, but let's take a look at the top 50 income earners in March. Anne Fisher, this time at number 1, Julie Stevens at 2, Jacqueline Goldridge at 3, Krista Crawford at 4. Still a respectable place within the company, but she is not the most successful person in January and in March. Like I said, I don't have the data for February, but here she's not at the very, very top. There are other people who are making more money than she does. Christina Smallwood is still in the top as well. She's at number 6. Ivy Carnegie is now at 9. Let's take a look at Amanda. I do not see her. This is also a post from MLM Unmasked. I will link their Instagram down below if you're interested in staying up to date with that information and with those numbers. Amanda is not on the list either. Krista is regularly in the top income earner lists, but this year alone, she is not at the top. So it is likely that if that trend continues, and there are more months to come, I don't have the data for April either. It's just a snapshot of what I could easily find online. She was not the top income earner in January and not in March. It looks like the downward trajectory for her is real. At least it is very likely that she will not be the top income earner in 26 if she progresses the way she does here. That is why I always find it important to point out those posts as well, and to be very clear that when she says she became the number 1 income earner globally, that was true for 2024 and 25. She also struggles. There are people in the company who are more successful. She wasn't inducted into the 15 MDC. Maybe she will this year, maybe next year, maybe she will never, maybe when it closes before that can even happen. And that's why I think it is important to put those numbers into perspective. She was able to make over $10 million in commission that went into her pocket. We have to take into consideration taxes and expenses, so she doesn't have $10 million in her bank account, thanks to Monate. But she herself says, also in the text on this post, that she sold over 250 million in hair and skin products. Not just her and her entire team of allegedly 20,000 people. And she made 10 million. If she were to make just 10% of everything she sold, then she would be able to bank in and to cash in 25 million. Once again, if you were to run your own company, you were actually an entrepreneur, you would actually run your own business, you would make a lot more. The blessing of this has changed my life. I'm a mom of 4. And here she says it again. She generated over 250 million in sales with over 10 million earned in network marketing alone. She and her entire team, she heavily depends on her team. It's not about the things she personally sells. Her entire team, her and the 20,000 people allegedly on her team, were able to allegedly generate 250 million in sales over her years in Monate, which is now also 8 years. This is not for everyone, and unfortunately not everybody is even able to profit. You want more freedom, more income, you have to be coachable, willing to be uncomfortable, and you're done making excuses. Now, why am I pointing these things out? Because I think it is important to be very specific and to be very clear when you see posts from somebody in a network marketing company and they have to make a crappy business opportunity look and sound so much better than it actually is, even for the tippity top people. Most people in network marketing companies don't even make a profit. That's why they end up in debt. And you can sell products, you can make a little bit of revenue and maybe a little bit of profit here or there. But overall, the money lies in recruitment. That is why she wasn't able to sell $250 million in products. She and her entire team were able to do so. She wouldn't have been able to be at the top. It's not about selling the products, it's about recruiting people and allowing them to do the work and benefiting of them, also their sales and also their own purchases. And I would suspect that most people on her team, those allegedly 20,000 people she speaks about in another post, they didn't even make a profit. Most of those people very likely ended up in debt. But we always see and hear about those glorified numbers, and the glorified people at the top were actually able to make a profit. And I think that's why it's important to take a closer look at the overall numbers. Krista Crawford is not performing as she used to before. She might have been the top income earner in 24 and 25, but she is very likely not going to be that in 26. She might not be able to hold her position as the senior executive director if her team crumbles even more, because she depends on every single person on that team. So let's not get fooled. Let's ask questions when we see posts like this. It is a job of a network marketer to make a crappy business opportunity sound so much better than it is. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for your support. If you liked this video, then give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss out on further videos. If you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. You can also hype the video. That is a function YouTube has introduced not too long ago. And if you liked this video, then hopefully I will see you in my next one. Until then, tschüss!